a smoker, this story is for you, and especially if you're a non-smoker, this is a story for you. 4 in 5 South Africans for adults feel that government should consider the role of smoke-free products and the role it can play in tobacco harm reduction. It's the finding of a study commissioned by Philip Morris International. Excuse me. 87% of adults also agree that government should consider the role of alternative products and the role it can play in making the country completely smoke-free. So how does this work? I'm joined by Philip Morris, South Africa's Rishad Haji. Rishad, good morning to you. Just help me understand, because there's so many products that come to mind when I think of alternatives to smoking, gum, vaping, all that. Is that what we are talking about in this survey?
Good morning, Gareth, to you and your viewers. And I think you ask an excellent question. There are many alternative options for people to be able to stop smoking or to switch to other alternatives. The ones we tend to know about are what are referred to as nicotine replacement therapies. These would be gums, patches, etc. And a very interesting report was published by Public Health England about a week or so ago. And what they had concluded is that the use of alternative nicotine products like e-cigarettes are more effective at helping people stop smoking cigarettes. But there are also other products on the market like heated tobacco. So these are products that don't use a liquid like e-cigarettes. So they use tobacco, but they don't burn them. They heat them to release a nicotine-containing vapor. But they significantly reduce the formation of harmful chemicals and the body's exposure to harmful chemicals. I do want to say that, all of these products are not risk-free. They contain nicotine, which is addictive, but they are a much better alternative than continuing to smoke. And then there are also products like snus, which is a tobacco product that's put in a pouch, and these are very popular in Scandinavian countries to use as alternatives to smoking cigarettes.
Where has the research come from? What's triggered this kind of research to be done?
Yeah, I think that is important to answer. Why the research matters is because at this point in time, there are about 1.1 billion smokers around the world, and in South Africa we have around 11 million smokers. What triggers the research is that from us as a company, we have decided that we will phase out the sale of cigarettes and replace them with less harmful nicotine products. However, what we start noticing is that there may be a reluctance by smokers to choose products that are actually less harmful for them. And what's leading this is misinformation. And as we see from the survey, about 41% of people that we've spoken to in South Africa have heard conflicting information. So this puts them in a quandary. On the one hand, you have a technology that is better for them than continued smoking. But on the other, you have people who are apprehensive, who don't understand them sufficiently, and that stands in the way of them making a better choice than continuing to smoke. So we triggered the survey to understand where does the public sit on this particular issue. Do they believe that these less harmful nicotine products have a role to play in reducing smoking rates in the country or not? And what we also want to understand from them is, what are their attitudes towards the evidence-based approach that governments take in reducing smoking rates? And this is important because, for example, we have a large body and a growing body of evidence that indicates these products are less harmful than continued smoking. And yet there continues to be a lot of misinformation out there, and sometimes it's clouded by ideology. And what we're seeing is really interesting is that the majority of people that we've spoken to are saying that they expect the government to consider and adopt the latest science when regulating in South Africa. So what we need in order to overcome this misinformation and this confusion is to provide people with accurate information that is non-misleading and access to less harmful alternatives.
Help me understand, Rishad, just in the last minute or so that I have with you. During the hard lockdown, the early stages of level 5, level 4 lockdown last year, and the ban on cigarettes, apart from the public outcry on the ban of cigarettes, it was overstepping of authority, taking away freedom of choice. Besides that, we've been reporting extensively about the loss of income to the fiscus for South Africa on that ban of cigarettes in just a few months. I think it was running into the billions of rands. And I don't think many people will argue against how bad smoking is for your health, but there is a financial element to this as well. Where does this survey stand on that? Last question to you.
Look, I think it goes without saying that if you're running a tobacco ban and a tobacco products and e-cigarettes and all tobacco product ban for 4.5 months, it certainly does create an issue because you're not operating in the country, you're not generating revenue. That's definitely felt by everyone. However, what we must look at is that the ban was a lost opportunity to offer people who would otherwise continue smoking less harmful alternatives. Imagine when you have products like heated tobacco and e-cigarettes that significantly reduce the formation of harmful chemicals and the body's exposure to them, making them a better alternative to cigarettes. We could have used this opportunity to inform people about better alternatives. And it's not over. I mean, we still have that opportunity to do that, but it requires the government, the medical and scientific community, civil society, etc., to work together. And what we're seeing is that there is support for it by the public. This is what this survey shows. And it's also supported by the science and a growing body of science. So what we would encourage is that for South Africa to take a deep dive into the science, to set aside the ideology for a second and really dive into the science and understand why these products are better and how can we get more and more South Africans who would otherwise continue to smoke to find out about them and make better choices.
I was going to say South Africa should take a deep breath, but perhaps not the right way to end the interview. Mr. Rishad Haji, thank you very much indeed for your time. Never thought about